All right, guys, we'll go through 1B now. So for 1B, I did give you some candidate profiles, templates and examples to help you, and also the interview run sheet. So they're the 3 documents you need. But I would probably suggest actually just starting from like a blank Word document. Gosh, I can't even find Word. It's been unpinned from my taskbar. Okay, so I would just start off with a blank one just to make it easier on yourself. So the first thing you need to do is do up a job description for an office position. So what I would do is I would just type in like administration assistant, and I think the other day I saw one for the Hilton. So if you type in that one, I think it was on Seek, but that doesn't really matter, I guess. So administrative assistant at Hilton. So we'll go into that one. Doesn't really matter that it's the United States. It's all good. Okay, so it gives a job description, which is what this task asks us for. What will you be doing? Job requirements. What are we looking for? And the only thing you'll really need to change is what will it be like working for the Hilton? Because remember, this is all about dynamic events. So you might just need to change the things in here. If you went back into the HR manual, I think there's something about dynamic events in there, and you could paste that in instead. So that's all you need to really do for the job advertisement. So like if you want to just copy and paste it in, and then you'll have to obviously make some formatting changes, but it's probably not going to paste in exactly how I'd like it to. Probably, I mean, you could leave the apply now in there. And then, yeah, you would just need to make sure you change it to dynamic events and all that sort of thing. So make sure you do read through and make sure it makes sense for a catering business. So an administrator serving dynamic events, always working on behalf of our guests and working with other team members. So, I mean, it's a pretty standard one. It looks pretty good. And then you just need to change this part to suit dynamic events. That's all you need to do for the ad. Now, the next part is to come up with 10 interview questions. So I've given you an interview run sheet template. So you can fill in the position. So if you're doing an administration assistant, you put that in there and you are the interviewer. And then obviously you would change the date and applicant depending on the date and who the applicant is. And then you're just putting in the questions that you'd ask in these rows here. And you need 10 different questions. Now, what I would suggest doing is if you type in interview questions, there's all different ones here. So 27 most common job interview questions. But make sure you do a variety of questions. So there's direct questions. So like, how many years have you worked in administration? So you're going to get a direct answer back, you know, like 1 year, 2 years, whatever. An indirect question would be like, tell me about yourself. You're not exactly sure what they're going to say. Another question would be like a behavioral question. So tell me a story when you have solved a problem, or tell me when you've worked well in a team. Something like that, and you're seeing how they might behave. And then a hypothetical question is like, tell me what you would do if you were running really behind schedule and blah, blah, blah. So you need direct, indirect, hypothetical, and behavioral questions. But I'm sure if you go into these, you'll find a lot of different questions in there. Just make sure they do apply to the administration role. So that's all you need to do. Then just copy that interview run sheet with your 10 questions into the document. Then after that, what I would do is I would then paste in the candidate profile. So I've already done these for you. Feel free, you can change them as well. So there's 3 candidates here. And what you've got to do is you'll read through the 3 and then come up with who's the best for the job. So then whoever you choose for the job, they need to have a successful letter sent to them. And I have done up a template in the templates and examples document. So if you go into that, and it's nearly towards the bottom. Okay, so letter of employment. So whoever you choose, you're going to put in this letter of employment. So you need to put in the date. So like the date today is the 15th of September. So you always write the month out in full. Oops, if I can spell it. Okay, and then whoever you're giving the job to, and then you need to make up an address for them. Then you put in dear whoever it is, and do either Mr. or Ms. And then make sure you put in the position title, and our organization will be Dynamic Events. Then you say Dynamic Events is what's great about it. If you join Dynamic Events, you'll become part of a fast-paced and dedicated team. So that's all good. So just make sure you do change all the our organization parts, and then put in the title, so administration assistant or whatever it is. So you can just say see attached, start date, you can put that in, salary. If you Google administration assistant salaries, you'll be able to find something there. Probation, that's usually between 3 and 6 months. And the common hours of work is usually 38 hours. Reporting relationship, so person they might report to would be like the general manager probably. And then you are going to be someone in HR, so put your name, maybe like HR manager and dynamic events here. And that is, whoa, what am I doing? That is the successful letter done. So then copy that into your document once you've finished. Cool. And then you need to write 2 unsuccessful letters for the 2 people you didn't pick. So back over to the templates document, underneath the successful letter is the unsuccessful candidate letter. So you don't have to put in a business letterhead. You can put in the Dynamic Events logo if you want to, but you don't have to. So then the date, again, make sure you write it out in full. Okay, whoever is not getting the job, and then make up an address for them. Then dear whoever, outcome of application of employment, and then the position title there. And then you're just filling in the blanks in red. Make sure that you put in your name here, and then directly on telephone number or email address. So you don't need to put a telephone number if you don't want to, but your email address, since you're working for Dynamic Events, it should be like your name at dynamicsevents.com.au. Then you'll put your name here, your position title like you did in your successful letter, and Dynamic Events. And then remember, you need to do 2 of these because you're writing them to 2 people. Okay, and then the very last thing you need to do is go back to the templates document, is do up an induction checklist. So this will be for the person that got the job. So you'll put their name in there, the position that they've gone for. Now I've stuffed up here, I think I changed this for a different assignment. I would change school to department, and then it would be like administration, and then their commencement date. And then just make sure you go through all of these headings down the side and make sure they actually make sense for an administration assistant. You don't have to do any of these things over here because you're just getting it ready for when they start the job. So make sure that they all make sense. And then this can be conducted by you. So you can put your name here, but that's all you need to do. And then you just copy that into your document. Now, because it's in a landscape format, you just need to also copy in this part up here because that's a section break, and that makes it so that each part is separate and they can both live in harmony. So one will still be portrait and the induction checklist will remain landscape like that. Okay, and then hit save and save it as HRM506 assignment 1B. And you're done. Now I will also just go over what you need to do for the last part of the assignment, which is your short response questions. So we did go through some of these in class, like the first few questions, like question 1, 2, 3, I think. Maybe we even did 4. And then we split them up as a class and completed them that way. So I have sent you an email that actually contains short response question answers. And I've done the answers in green. So I didn't do a particularly good job of 1B. It says summarize relevant legislation, but we did that as a class, so you need to summarize these ones. And just make sure as you go through that it does make sense and you do change them to suit your wording as well, okay? So make sure any gaps you have, like I've just combined all your answers together, but just make sure as you go through you do change a few words here and there so everyone's isn't the same. And then that will be your HR assignment. So 1A, 1B, and the short response.